everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, please do consider subscribing, and if you're returning, welcome back. So it's been a very long time since I've done one of these videos, and it is a flip through of the completed colouring book. And I think these ones are the only books I tend to complete because they only have 14 pages. You get the illustrations twice, but I don't colour them twice. I only colour the 14 pages. So we have completed this book. So it's the second Colourage book I've completed. The first one I completed was this one. So now I've completed Colourage World 5, so I can purchase a new one now. I've been waiting to complete this before I purchase that. I think it's Colourage World 7 that I wanted. So should we get straight into it and have a flip through of all these 14 pages that are complete in here? Let's have a look. I don't know if anybody else colours both of them in this book, or if you like me and just colour one. But I suppose you could have a change up of colour schemes if you decided to colour the two illustrations on each page. This one, I was super happy with this one. It's the first time that I was ever happy with one of my darker skin tones, because I'm not the best at doing darker skin tones at all. And the hair, I loved the hair as well, and it gave me opportunity to go with curly hairs on this one. So it was really actually quite fun doing all the little small circular motions to try and get the afro hair, and then where it's shaved, it was a nice change again to then going with the little tiny strokes. I just think it looks awesome, and I really loved how that turned out. Unfortunately, I don't think I wrote down the pencils I used for this skin, and that is what I am murder for, is not writing something down and then I look back at a page and I think, oh, I'd love to do that again, but Krista hasn't wrote down the colours. I don't even know what pencils this was, unfortunately. The background, I used a washi tape so we could get this nice crisp square shape in the background, because I used watercolour. Yep, I think it was watercolour on there. It was only one colour as well, but really pretty, that page. Really like that page. So next up was this one. So again, I quite like this one. This one's got lots of stickles all over those feathers that you can see shining. It was a pan pastel background, using a stencil to erase some of the pastels. So we've got these circular shapes. I'm not keen on a hair on this one. It's too flat. Although I didn't just go in with a black, the way that I've done it, I've not achieved any highlights in the hair, so it does just look like a block colour of black, which if I did this page again, I would do that differently. But everything else about it, I think it's quite nice. The feathers are quite subtle shades. But yeah, it's probably my least favourite page in the book that I've completed. That one probably is. So this was a fun distress ink background. I can tell that because we know this effect is what happens when you sprinkle water on top of distress inks. That's what I did here. So you sprinkle the water on and then you lift it off with a cloth after a couple of minutes, and it removes some of the pigment, so you ended up with this gorgeous texture, and it works fantastic on this paper. It really does, because you can go to town sprinkling the water on, because the paper's almost like it's not technically a watercolour paper, but it is really, it is to me. It looks like a watercolour paper, and it reacts a bit like a watercolour paper as well. I think there's stickles around here, and it's either a paint pen, I think it might have been my white paint pen that I used, and then stickles over the top for a bit of sort of war paint, do they call it? A bit of war paint. I popped in some little highlights on the nose and lips on this one. I love these illustrations in these books. They are just the most adorable little people. I really do love them, and I really enjoy colouring them, because the actual size of the book isn't too big either. It's quite a nice size. So next up was this one. This was my adventurous page, because this has got the gold leaf on, which is an absolute nightmare to place, because it gets stuck to your fingers. And then I tried using it with tweezers once, because somebody said, why don't you place it down with tweezers? And it just got stuck to the tweezers and won't go down on my page, and then I ended up getting it on my hands on the tweezers. So yeah, it's very messy gold leaf, I did pop some gold leaf on. That is a watercolour background. Now I'm not sure what paint that is, to be honest. I'm not entirely sure what paint I used there. But I really wanted to go for this sort of yellow and white snake, and then I did pop some stickles on the snake, so some of his little patches I've got stickles on, and then I've outlined him with the stickles. I've given earrings with stickles. You know what, I've not used my stickles in ages. I'm gonna have to get them out. I decided to go wild and give her pink eyes, as well as the snake having a pink eye. And yeah, quite like that one. It's a bit out there. It was fun. And the hair colour as well, that was fun. It's like a lilac type, purpley, pink, whatever we want to call it. Next up was this one. So this one I did completely in watercolour. Yeah, it was watercolour. I think it might have been the Prima watercolour set, the Decadent Pies set that I used on here. So I love the background, I love the fox, I love the looseness of the watercolour, how I did the fox. I'm not a fan of the skin, and that's because I'm just not great at doing skin with watercolours, but I really wanted to do the whole page in watercolour, so I thought, just go for it, Kirsty, just go for it. So I did do that, but yeah, I'm not a fan of the skin, but everything else I love. I love the fox. You can see how loosely he's been painted. Really like that one. Again, I used a washi tape around the edge, so we got this crisp border. I apologise for my cough. I've taken a hay fever tablet this morning, but it's getting to me lately. I've had bad headaches as well because of it. Hay fever's the worst, isn't it? All the roof of my mouth is itching off as well. So next up we've got this little Eskimo. This is gorgeous. I absolutely love his little chubby cheeks. Again, a pan pastel background using that circular stencil to erase the shapes out. I don't know if I did this on camera, did I? No, I don't think I did actually. I think it was a different page. But I remember struggling with the fur around here because these pages are, they've got a bit of grayscale in them. So it was really easy to get which direction the fur was going in around here because it was quite heavily grayscaled around here. And then when we got to the top, it was sort of nothing there. So I had to try and guess which way all the fur would be going, and that's when I struggle. So you can see all this is nice, following nice direction all the way around here. And then when we get on top of the head here, it's just a bit messy. But that's the only thing I struggle with on this page. Everything else about it I really love. I love the background, I love the colour of the fur, I love his little red nose, or his little pink nose and chubby cheeks. I love this one. It's really, really cute. So on this one, I did do the whole of the page in the pan pastel this time, but I just popped the washi tape at the top so we wasn't getting messy up near this spiral. So we had a nice clean edge at the top. That's that one. So this one I only finished last night. I absolutely love this one, and this is the first page that I tested out my Derwent Chroma Floor pencils with. I love them pencils. I absolutely adore them. So I'll be using them loads. I'm guessing I'll be using them loads, honestly. They went down so smooth on this paper as well. So I'll have to test whether there's any difference between this nice thick watercolourish paper and sort of a regular 1/6 GSM paper in another book, what might be a bit smoother. So I'm going to see what they react like on a different paper, but on this paper, 10 out of 10, absolutely amazing. I used lots of the nice neutral earthy tones that I liked from this set. So I think there was a spice, I think it was called Spice. The background was either Golden Sun, is it called Golden Sun, or Amber something? I can't remember which one I used because I took all my pencils downstairs. I was sat on the couch watching I'm a Celebrity South Africa, and I was just sort of grabbing random pencils out of the case, which is the good thing about this book as well. You can sit with it on your knee quite easily whilst doing other things. Lots of white gel pen detailing on the face for a bit of, again, a bit of war paint going on there. Bit round here to highlight that. I decided to do the star. It was actually the white Posca pen. I've just bought another one, and it's really good. It's really juicy actually. This one here, the uni pen, and I got them in a set of 4. So it was a set of 4. You got a gold. I've not tried these ones out yet. You got a gold, a black, a silver, and a white. Yeah, and that white was working really well on this page. I popped some around the edges of this as well. So I'd just like to show you a similar page. It's not the same page, but it's a similar page that I did in here. And this must have been a couple of years ago that I did this illustration. I just want to show you the difference. Because they are quite similar illustrations. Let me bring you up a bit more. They are quite similar illustrations, but I think this is supposed to be a book of boys, this one. So I think this is boys and I think this is girls. So you can see her long hair there, and he hasn't got any hair showing through. But look at the difference. I think it's amazing, the difference. If you look at this one, look, nothing's blended. Even the hair on here, you can see it's not blended. There's loads of white space showing through. Even on the feathers you can see where it's not been burnished or anything. So this is really early work. Again, the background was a bit shoddy, so you can see the improvement there. Obviously these feathers have been burnished with a white. It's amazing, isn't it, to look back at work and just see what the difference is. But yeah, even the skin on this one, I didn't really do much with the skin. It's quite pale. It's very pale and pasty, this one. But yeah, I just thought it'd be nice to show you that. So continuing on with this book, we've got this one, which I adore. This might be one of my favourite pages in the book. So it's a pan pastel background on this one. Again, I used my electric eraser this time for the circles. I didn't use a stencil, so I just got this Derwent eraser here, and I literally just dotted it on randomly. Her, I just saw it as being really fiery. Once I saw the direction that it was going in, I just thought fire. The bees I'm super proud of on this page. I love how they turned out. Look how realistic they look on the wings. I added a bit of grey tone and a bit of blue grey into the wings. I fluffed up the little heads. Is it the heads? I fluffed them up a little bit. I love how they turned out. And then I complemented it with this washi tape, this decorative washi tape that I had in my set, which was sunflowers. And I thought the bumblebees really like and the honeybees really like sunflowers, don't they? So that's why I popped that in. And that's that one. Next up is this page. Now this one, I love doing the hair on this one. The hair was amazing. Such beautiful hair. And again, trying to do those little curls, I absolutely loved it. Loved it. What I don't like about this one is a couple of things. I really don't like the background. I feel like the colours didn't go well with the colours here, the colours on the page. I don't know, I think that pink was a wrong choice. I even think the blue was a wrong choice, to be honest. And then I don't like the skin. I've not left enough highlights in the skin. It looks a bit patchy in some areas. I'd really like to highlight things a bit more, like even the little highlight on the nose I would have liked to be a bit brighter. Can you hear that noise? That's my tap making that noise. Let me go and shut it up. That's better. We've got a dodgy tap in the bathroom at the minute and it makes this horrible groaning, droning noise, and you have to keep going in and flicking it back down again. I don't know, it's just doing something random. But yeah, that was that page. And I think even on this one I was a bit sloppy, because normally how I would put the washi tape there and have this nice clean line, I've just sort of not had a curve in the world and just slapped it on, I can tell. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that one. I really don't like the background on it. Really don't at all. So next up was this one. So this one was my big experimental page. I did a watercolour background, but it's not colours I would typically go for in watercolour. So I went for this really, I think it was a dark grey, or it might have even been a black. I went for this really dark colour at the bottom of the page and then tried to mix in some purple, but it wasn't mixing very well. the colours together, and I just didn't like how it was looking. So then I decided, oh, I know, we'll cover it up, we'll throw some metallic paint over the top of it. So I got the liquid chrome from the Renaissance set and I just splattered it everywhere, and that's what's created this effect in the background, is all the metallic paint on top. I'm not sure how I feel about it actually. I think it's the dark colour of the black watercolour that I don't like. I really think it is. But I put on a really thin washi tape around the edge this time, so we created a border with this really thin metallic washi tape, which actually complements the colour of the metallic watercolour there. I give her this lovely, is it a mask around her eyes? A little mask. I really wanted to make her quite theatrical, so I went in with really, really bright face makeup here, really bright. And again, the flowers I'm not a fan of. I don't know what I was thinking when I did them flowers, but I'm not a fan of them. I'm not a fan of them, but there we go. Can't love everything you do, can you? This one was, oh, I did this, I think this was the first page that I did in this book, might have been. It's really delicate, really autumn colours. I love it. I love the colours I put on him. I think he was pan pastel on that skin. Yeah, I think I did his skin with pan pastel. So I wanted him to be almost like he was blending in with autumn, with the autumn shades. So I did make him quite orangey. And then we've got this lovely red tone up here, and nice green leaves. Sort of a green yellow shade, that, isn't it? But yeah, I like that one. It's quite delicate and soft. Next up, this one. I did this last month, so this was in my finished pages video at the beginning of the month. So this one, I think I based it in, I based it in the Winsor & Newton Pro markers, and then I went over the top with the Tombow Erogeton pencils, and then this bit at the bottom was just a bit of watercolour slapped on. But I really like this one. I think those Tombow pencils have really popped off the page. The colours of them, the oranges and teals together, I like that colour palette. Yeah, nice one, this one. I really like him, and I give him sort of hazel eyes, so he's sort of got green, bit of brown in his eyes. Next up we have this one. This was my gouache page. So this was the very first time I think that I did a whole page in gouache. So the background was very experimental. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I sort of just went along with it. I know I wanted to create a sort of moody, stormy background, but I wasn't sure how, so I was just winging it. And then I thought, wouldn't it be nice to have this sort of break in the clouds where the bright sky is coming through and it's shining onto the little frog on his head. And I love it. I actually love how this one turned out. And then I went round the edges of each sort of cloud that I'd created with, I think it was white gouache that I used to go around there. I did pop a little bit of pencil on top of the gouache around the hair. I think it was the hair and the eye makeup and the eyebrows. I popped a bit of pencil over the top, but I really like this. I think it's just the illusion of this that I like in the background. But yeah, it's a really pretty page. I was proud of that when I did it, that background. And then there's a bit of a boo-boo in my book, because there should be 2 of each illustration. There was only 1 of a certain illustration, which I've had to go into the next, because we're back at the start. If you've noticed, this was the first one I coloured. Yeah, there was a missing illustration that I only had once. So this was the illustration I only had 1 of. So I've had to go and tag that so I could find it. But this one is one of my earlier ones. I think this was one of the very first I did in the book as well. I can't quite remember what I used, but it's looking like it's definitely a watercolour background. But for some reason I can't tell if the leaves are watercolour or ink tints or pencil. I really cannot remember. It was a long time ago. But it doesn't look like pencil. It looks like either watercolour. You know what, I think it probably will be watercolour. If I've used watercolour for the background, you know, chances are this is watercolour as well. and even the little bird I think was watercolour. It's watercolour or Inktense, guys, I can't quite remember. But I popped on some little stickles on the leaves, so it looks like these little dewdrops are sparkling on the leaves. And I give this little boy a birthmark. Actually, there was a challenge on Facebook to do, I think it was Colour with Claire, I think it was one of her challenges, and it was like colour a page that's a reference to a song. So I did this one and I tagged it in with the song This Is Me from The Greatest Showman, and obviously This Is Me was showing us that we're all beautiful, and I did this little boy with a birthmark on his face, so it's very subtle, but he has got, you can see it's quite red tones here around his, under his eye. So that's what I did on this one. But yeah, I love that. And obviously that's all 14 pages, because we're back to illustrations that I've already coloured now. So you do get them all twice. Whether you decide to colour them twice is up to you, but I get bored. I can't colour the same pages twice. So once these books have all had one of the illustrations of each coloured, I call it complete. I call it complete. So that is it, guys, and that is that one done. So I can add it to my Coloriage Wild 2, and those two are both complete. If you want to see the completed pages from this one, there is already a video with this one, and it is, you'll find it under my playlists under completed books. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Hit that big thumbs up on the way out, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.